Why do we end up with certain animals in our lives? On the ZoliArt Montana podcast, we uncover more questions than answers. Thank you for being here. My name is Linda, here with Zoli Althea Brown. Zoli, what happens to our pets when they leave?
Well, I'm still stuck on why we get certain animals. That made me think of a lot of different situations and animals that I've had. But here's what's interesting. And take this for what y'all want, but after running a farm for 30 years, having dozens of all kind of critters, I noticed that I think it's the love that you share with the animal, they with you. When they leave, it's like they vacuum up a lot of negativity. Has anybody experienced this? I know y'all have. It seems to clear the air. Our beloved cat, just Sophia Montana, that I've mentioned, just passed from kidney failure. And I spoke to the animal communicator. If y'all need one, she's brilliant. Her name's Emerald Duceur, Duceur. She's on the internet. She can also communicate with your loved ones who have passed. She's very gifted. I asked, was this cat, this was a perfect animal, addressing your question. What is it with these animals? She never did anything wrong. She never scratched, never bit, never on the counter, never did anything. I asked Emerald, was this cat like, did she have some alien energy in her? And she laughed, and Sophia said, what's the difference? So I'm such an idiot. I don't know. I get so attached to these animals. I don't know. But I think what happens, and feel free to correct me on this, but they say that dogs live in alpha. Maybe cats do too. Maybe they do. But your interaction with something that you love, with emotion, that creates the physical world in many, many ways. In the distant future, it is said that dogs and possibly cats, I don't know who else, but they will serve as mediums in between those of us in bodies and the other side. Now, I've had a couple dogs that did that. In the newsletter, the Reality Pirate newsletter I did in Olympia for 7 years, I had a dog named Chelsea. We had a little section called Ask Chelsea. I could hear this damn dog talking. A lady brought her dog over to see me one day, and I knew this gal. She said, I think my dog is sick. What does Chelsea say? And Chelsea said, the dog's fine. The next night, the dog died. And I'm like, Chelsea, she said, I told you he was fine. Their perception is very different than us. And it's also the brain. The brain has a lot to do with this. The brain is how we experience time. So I don't want to go off on another tangent here, as I tend to do. I want to stick with this, but I have something to tell you. Remind me of this about the mantis, the 20-foot praying mantis beings from distant galaxies that talk to people. I mean, they send information. I had this experience the night before we took Sophia in to get her out of that painful little body. But animals, why do we have these experiences with them? You can be angry at your dog or cat, and they're smiling at you. Well, dogs have more facial muscles. But what is it, this pure love, this pure affection? I know you've had pets, right, Linda?
Yes. And what you said about them taking negativity when they leave, I never had considered, but after hearing it from you, you can feel it. It's really quite beautiful.
Yeah, it's a feeling. And the times that we're in now is we are seeing the effect of past behaviors on the physical world. There's a lot of crap going on in people's lives. I mean, this is spring 2026. I usually don't date these things, but we are building up to these conflicts, more and more and more conflicts. Now, a conflict is what? It's a communication. We're going to straighten this out, but we're going to see a different world. I will warn you, about looking at things on the internet or news is all the warnings about what's going to happen and you have to do this and that. These people are channeling negative stuff from the astral realm that the lords of materiality here shoot up there. And all the little channels and mediums like, oh, well, it's going to be bad if you don't do this by this date. Come on. So our thoughts do create a reality in that sense. They work with a lot. You can't affect it. Why? Because they're electromagnetic and we are living in that kind of world. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I wonder how animals can guide us to accept that spiritual and supernatural, because it seems like it comes more naturally to them.
Well, they're animals. They're not people. They don't have souls. They have spirits. And what I experienced when Sophia left her body, and I still see her, she has decided, I guess, that she'll always be here. For whatever reason, continuing the work, this and that. I don't know. Am I making that up? I don't know. I don't think so. But they don't have a soul. They don't reincarnate. They will meet you oftentimes on the other side when you pass. It could also be a thought form that you expect to see them. How do you know? You don't. It drives me crazy because I'm a research analyst. I don't have answers. Think about this. See what you see about this. But what I experienced with her is I still feel the presence. And at the corner of my eye, I can see her energy field. And so perhaps they hang out until their so-called mommy, daddy, owner, friend, whatever, passes over, and then they go with them, or maybe they dissolve, but they go into a group mass consciousness, the dog consciousness, oversoul, whatever you want to call that, the cat one, the llama one. I don't know what it is, but that's the most reasonable explanation that I've heard for that. They can help us because they love. They love. They can feel emotion. And they do express emotion. They have, I don't know if they do what we do. We use our emotions to get to our feelings. They don't appear to have that conflict. They can be sad. They can be upset. You know that about animals. But I think it's just the genuine love and experience with them. And when she left over, I agree. Tom and I were shocked. It took us a week. We were sobbing. I thought, I've never had this happen before. Finally, as spirit does, when I'm more ready to accept what they have to say, which happens a lot, they said, what you are grieving is loss of God. These animals are godly to us. The presence of your physical cat left. And so you lost love. And I'm like, God, that's mean, you know. But you get over it and you go on, and they say in some religions that those you loved, their memory lives on by your stories of them, by keeping them alive. But there are times where, I don't remember 1,000 past lives I've had. I don't remember the names. So that will all die out too. But it's all happening at one time. So the love of animals, it never goes anywhere. It gets thicker with more viscosity. It has a presence and you can feel it. Then what do you do with it?
That's a good question. Because people often take that love and it becomes sorrow when they don't have it physically with them anymore.
Right. And Tom and I, even my big operator husband, was so upset. He said, I have never felt this with an animal. And I said, I think what's happening with us is we are also taking on and grieving the great loss in this world right now with the changes that are happening. And it's physical. We are dumping centuries and centuries of just used up behavior now. And we grieve that. And the new is not here yet fully. And we're scared. We feel unsure. And when all this love energy is coming into this planet from the exosphere down the mesosphere, when it's coming down more and more, it gets filtered to the point that we can accept it. And as we do that, it's either fear or loving behavior. If you see all this stuff on TV or in media and you can't understand that somebody's opinion and you take that on, you will be fearful and you will express fear. Why are people afraid of what you call aliens? They've never not been here. What do you think they're going to land on the White House lawn and walk out and say, take me to your leader? A lot of people think that. Why are you afraid of Bigfoot or whatever they call themselves, or dogmen? Or these beings have been here for the millennia. Now, all of a sudden, it's something new to be afraid of. And as that beautiful dog man told me psychically, he said, don't chase after us. Don't chase us. We have a right just as you do, but don't chase us. And I think we will come to more of an understanding, a loving understanding of the things that also have a right to be here. And if we don't know what they are, if you're a fearful person, you'll be afraid of them.
We really do seem grounded in fear. I mean, we're scared of other humans, so of course we're going to be terrified of anything that's not human.
Let's replace the word terrified with it's jolting, it's disconcerting.
Right.
I have seen things that are clearly not here. That is my work that I do. I live with that. I joke and say, my husband will come in the kitchen and go, who are you talking to? That guy standing right behind you, he's got half a head or what. I'm used to this now. But that's just me. That's the work I came here to do, to mediate in between the worlds. Am I always right? No. Can I be afraid? Oh, yeah, I've told you all these stories. Big, great psychic medium, and you are feeling fear. Really, what you're feeling is excitement that you've encountered something that is magical. But our nervous systems encode excitement and nervousness and fear, the same thing. It's like it goes into the same receptors, and it's human nature. But we're supposed to be able to pull back and go, okay, I got that. I know what that is. Or I don't know what that is. So we're going to get better at that.
Yeah, and it seems as though we just need to take a moment, if we can, and say, this might be new and jarring, but it's not dangerous. So we don't have to be afraid immediately.
Right. And a lot of that, I know that you guys have experiences with in your mind's eye. I don't know anybody that's not had what I'm going to tell you about. You see something that isn't here, and you get a download or a message, and you go, I made that up. You just ignore it or think you read it or something. And you might have. You also might be totally batshit crazy. I don't know. I felt like that. But I'll address the night before we took Sophia in. I could not sleep clearly. I was hurting. I was distressed. I was going through the human emotions of grief. Now, we're not made to grieve for a real long time. We are not. Find a way, get some help. Anyway, I was laying there and I saw the image of one of the praying mantis beings. Now, I wrote about him, and we have the picture, the image that the artist drew that's going to be coming out in the book. We'll probably do next year. Don't call me on that. Supernatural beings and the natural world. Tom and I were, the first time I met this energy, we were sitting in the great room watching TV, and I looked up, and we have a 30-foot ceiling. His head was touching. It's a mantis being. He reached down and either touched my head. I'm like, whoa. And there was a smaller one standing to the left. They're all love. And I thought, why are they there? I don't know. So I encoded that, and I felt like a bug under a microscope. I've had that experience, but these are beings. And then I thought they were David, nature being. And then a month later, Spirit's like, well, what an idiot. That's not who they are. I read somewhere and I started doing research that they are from a very distant galaxy. They're not vocal like we are. You don't have to be. And we will also reach that stage where we are all telepathic. But why he was here, I don't know. Usually things like that will show up to me to teach me something. God help them. Then I can pass it on to y'all to see what you think about it. So take it for what you will. So once I realized that these are guys from somewhere way, 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 way far out, and I'm not a physicist. I mean, that's a girl thing, like thingy. It's way out. So I was trying to sleep and I had an image in my mind's eye. And don't tell me y'all don't get this, because you do. You get an image of something and then you get a message. For me, I see the words written out. That's how it works for me. He said, breathe. I went, oh, that's right. Oh, breathe. He said, we have no past. What you humans call your present does not exist. It changes millisecond by millisecond. You can't be here now. So you can't live in the present. I thought, well, they just blew the shit out of that. What your present is a marriage of your past and your future pressure. Here it is. Now, do I get that? No. But I'm starting to think about it. They said time is all about your physical brain. They have different brains. But they're letting me know that the human experience, it blew away another thing that, oh, you have to be here now. You have to be in the present. Why can't people do that? Well, that's why, because it doesn't exist. Now, I'm going to get, my New Age friends are going to read me the riot act on this, but I don't have the answer either. That's for you guys to figure out, because I don't quite get it. But the be here now thing, he said, what that means is to be aware. When you are, and these guys apparently live in an awareness state of moving into the future. Maitreya, the world teacher who's here, he says the past is evil. Now, why is that? Because we are here to evolve. We evolute. We grow. And if you're stuck in negative emotion, in grief, in memory, in the past, you're not going to do that. Now, that's very simplistic. I wish I could explain it more. What do you think about Linda? Once again, batshit crazy.
I never think you're batshit crazy, but then maybe I am. I think a lot about how being present is impossible. And it makes me wonder if there's ways that we can step out of the pressures of time.
How do I say this? I've done that occasionally, and I know people have done that. I think that happened when you are engaged in art, you're engaged in something that you're not thinking with the physical brain, you're just being and doing. I've had a couple different experiences where, and it wasn't from drug or alcohol use, but the whole universe was here and I was with it. I wasn't separate from it. And it was very strange and unusual. And I thought, that's what it is. That's what we're trying to get to. Now, it doesn't last. It doesn't last. But I know it exists. I know it does. But I know that everybody does that. It's part of our agreement. And I think it's part of our training. But the physical brain is, I'm harping again on it, but if you're doing a bunch of drugs and alcohol to get there, or doing weird stuff, and you think you're somewhere else, I can see you sitting there. You're still there. And all you're doing is changing your neurotransmitters to your brain. So it's a physical experience, and you're saying it's a spiritual thing. But you will also be encountering the beings that guard those drugs or alcohol, and they can be nasty. And there are certain reports of people who do, I forget what that drug is. They do some drug. And after a while, they'll do the drug and nothing happens because the beings are like, we're cutting you off. Isn't that interesting?
Very much so.
I don't know. It's kind of like going to a bar and they're like, no, you can't have anymore. I don't know. I'm not the one to talk about that. There are people who apply that in very real world, wonderful ways to help people having psychiatric problems or people with PTSD, folks who have real issues that can be dealt with that. But if you use that for fun, it will bite you in the ass. It really will. And it will not take you out of time and space. What it's doing is making your brain release neurochemicals to fake it because you're still physical. I just ruined
Yeah,
all
we try to find ways out of our physical so often when it's actually through our physical and our existence that is the path.
That's a precious statement. That is so true. That is so true. Because this here, you are your beloved. You are precious. Your body is made up of the same things as the earth. The same things. And then the etheric sheath about this far from your body. And then your astral, emotional, then your mental and your spiritual, your soul. We are a composite of energy fields that we can't even understand. But the dense one that we live in is the physical. And that is so important. So to treat yourself with kindness and with compassion at an age now 73, I'm not doing anything else that's weird. You know, these beings, and we laugh about this, I can't even get on a quad anymore without them all screaming at me, no, you gotta do that more because you're reckless, don't you? So I don't do stuff like that anymore because I'm too old to do that if I hurt myself. I don't like that. But you will reach a place where your brain is different and your body's different. So who are you now? What abilities do you have and what limitations do you have? And don't compare yourself to others. How do I know that? Because I do it with myself all the time and it creates great misery. Well, they can do that. Well, they're not you. Well, come on. I mean, we're all like 12 in certain ways. But when you are treating yourself as though you are in a body that is borrowed, that is clay, that is temporally and spatially, time and space limited, that's Saturn. And that's the physical world. And we're here to spiritualize the physical world. That's how you spiritualize it. By moving into the future. That's how you do it.
And that really highlights what we were talking about, the past being evil, because we can get stuck in the past of who we used to be and not want to be where we're at now. And the present being just temporary. It's the present changes even as we're speaking. That really makes me think of what those mantis beings were trying to share with you about how existence is much more than that.
Yeah, how do you explain to a mouse in a maze, like I feel like with them, that if you go that way, it's going to be okay? You know, we're a mess. We are not all these hugely evolved beings, but Earth isn't even one of the sacred planets, but we're getting there. But we're the only one to produce a Christ, someone, a human being, Maitreya, who 8 million years ago came from Lemuria, Atlantis, and who has gone through the first, second, third, fourth initiation to the fifth one, where he brought the body of Jesus back alive. He's in it. Then he walks out of the tomb, and then he ascends the body. That's the 6th degree initiation. What's the 7th? I don't know. But the 7th you don't do on this earth. I don't know about the 6th. But that person is here showing us the way. That is how you move into the future. And we are all, every human being, everybody. You can be an astrophysicist. You can be a greeter at Walmart, both normal, loving, wonderful human beings or jerks. But you will all get there. And that is amazing to me that we'll all get there.
What a hopeful thought, on my worst days where I am the jerk, or on the days where I see everybody else as the jerk. It's nice to know that we're all humanity. We're all in this together.
Yeah, we have the same emotions. We have the guilt and the fear, and we read people's faces or their stances or emotions, and and we get threatened, but then we fix it. And when we can be loving, what's that statement? I want to be the person my dogs think I am. Well, who knows what the dogs think you are, but they're acting like they like you. I think that statement is, I want to reach a place of a peace of mind. I want to be able to wake up and walk through each day with dignity, with health. Everybody on this planet is looking for the same thing during this time of great differences and polarities. If you back it up far enough, get past the how you were raised and all. If you back it up to basic needs, the emotional need, we all want the same thing. And it's coming and we're getting there. But we got some difficult years coming up because we've created all this. And now we have to live what we created. But you were born in this body, the honor that you have of being in a physical body. You were born to do your part and to fix what you can. God, give me the serenity to accept what I cannot change and to have the courage to change, to know, what is it? Oh, great. I haven't been meeting for a while. Serenity to change, know what I can change and know what I can't. My mind is just going in 1,000 directions right now. I'm very excited about this. If we can know what we can and know what we can't fix, there's a limitation. And maybe that'll change.
Yes, and if we're just simply striving for that courage to accept what we can't change. There's the wisdom to know the difference, right?
And the wisdom to know the difference. That's the crazy thing. I like that 10th step. And the 10th step says that you kind of renew and redo yourself to own your stuff. I want to own myself. If I made a mistake, if I can own it, then I don't let it drag in the past. See, there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of stuff. Maybe I'll try to do too much. I don't know.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I think we do. And I think the animal thing is very important because they appear just to move more gracefully through life, but they don't have soul.
It's curious to me how animals remind us to simplify.
Yeah, I think it's their energy field. It's the beauty of their energy field because they do move gracefully. I was watching a bunch of deer this morning who came through the yard, and they're not giving birth yet to the new ones who are absolutely hysterically funny, the size of German shepherds, with all these spots, jumping up and down, driving everybody crazy. But the deer that were here, there were 5 of them, and they look exactly like the colors of the ground. It's amazing. How do you do that? How do you do that? Tom got on the game camera down the gulch, a cougar and one of their babies that came through, I don't know, last year. But they're there. But cougars are just big cats. Usually you see one, if you wave your arms and yell, they run off. Black bears are prey animals. They don't want anything to do with it. Because humans don't taste very good, by the way. All the crap that we eat, we really don't taste very good. We're all kind of animals. I mean, come on, what's your favorite one? You talk to kids, they're going to have a favorite animal, and they're going to tell you which ones they don't like. And we go through life with connections to what we are. We connect with it because our energy feels similar.
Do pets influence the energetic frequency of the house then?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think they bring in with I think I would theorize they bring in with them other energy fields. I have had dogs that I knew were not all so-called dogs, that there were entities, extra, whatever you want to call them, star people, extraterrestrial energies, animals coming in and out. There was one that I met. This was, God, 40 years ago. This thing is about this big. It looks like it's got a soft um, body that's made out of a turtle shell with like a dog type head, and it's called a wototi. Now, where the hell did that come from? Where do you think all the Disney people and all these artists gets all this stuff from? It comes from a reality from other places. Did you just think this up? I don't think so. I mean, how do I know?
There are different realities. Reality is not what it used to be, right?
No, it's not. That's our ZoliArt statement. Reality is not what it used to be. And now it's once again, it's every millisecond, like what the Mantis people were saying. What's the deal? And I think they were able to get through me because I was so stressed. I was in a state. You guys know this. When you are in a very stressed state, you are hyper alert. It's a freeze, flee, fight situation. And you are hyper alert, and you may find that you have more experiences that are otherworldly, out of whatever, because our minds are searching for help. And we're here in this physical world of all the physical senses, and we're using our inner senses to try to make sense of it. And that really doesn't work so well.
No, it doesn't. And it's fascinating that it's when during our stressful times or when we're least expecting it that we have these experiences. When we, try and go looking for them, then there's nothing to be found.
Yeah, it's funny. And a lot of things that I have learned from beings is that there's so much that comes down that floats into our energy field, and it is stepped down to the point that we don't blow up when we get it or burn up or whatever, but that we get it in gentleness and in strength is what they want. They don't want to shock us. We're the ones that shock each other. All these alien movies of all these evil aliens, that's so negative because that's not who and what they are. Shame you, Steven Spielberg. You make some amazing, awesome movies, but I watch them and I think, wow, look at the fear. And that fear comes from the negative, shall we say, evil beings, the lords of materiality, here on this earth, inspiring them to create fear. To do what? To get money and fame.
Huh.
So the fear is very much connected to money and fame. If you scroll through what I don't do social media, or social media I hear is like some of the YouTube channels where it's, if you don't do this by this day, this is going to happen. And this is the gossip channel. And this idiotic person is doing all this. That's to get your attention, to get you to give them attention back. You already know that. Schoolyard bullies. Why are they bullies? They're terrified. These people are scared. Don't let it scare you. You want to ruin somebody's day like that? Go, so? Does that usually work? They can't answer that because they're afraid. They're afraid.
That's so important to touch on because you talk so often about beings, supernatural beings and different experiences you have, and they are not rooted in fear. You've had some scarier experiences or experiences with darker beings, but most of them, it's all love.
Oh, well, I think I was really blessed for many reasons. That when I was adopted by the family that adopted me in Birmingham, I lived in the woods. I was this wild, free little crazy person. But I'd come in and I'd say to Mom, I saw this lizard. It looked like a fairy. She'd go, that's nice. Do you want lunch? Not, oh, it's evil. because they were Jewish, I never heard that the devil was going to get me. I thought the devil was the Tasmanian devil. When I went to school, I said, the what? You mean the Tasmanian devil? I'm like, you people are insane. That didn't make sense to me. So I was blessed in that way. Plus, from a very early age, there were beings, because of the work that I'm doing now, that helped me, and I could see them. I was born with a caul, fully encased in the caul, which is the amniotic sac. And they say that when that happens to you, boy, you're going to have life. But it does give you ability to see the other side. I don't know why. And I didn't find that out until I was 65 years old. I found it out from my birth mother. I didn't know that, but it explains a lot. So I'm doing what I came here to do. Now, what I don't like is exposure to that. Because with too much social or exposure, I joke and say, I don't party, the verb or the noun. I just don't. Because I don't understand what's happening. Like, what's the point of this? But that's just me. My poor husband, oh my God, he's so tolerant. You know, this big old operator guy with this Taurus moon and this Gemini sun, and he's fine out there doing anything and everything. He's fine. I'm not. I haven't been anywhere since 2018. Why? I just work. I love it. My work is my joy. So what is your joy? That's going to move you into the future. But my story is that I think I was blessed and attuned. And there were a couple women that my mom would take me to. One was an esthetician. I had some psychological help because I went to school and the teachers thought I was batshit crazy. You know, my parents just said, oh, she's just, whatever. So I had the benefit of talking to psychologists from 6th grade until I was in my 20s. I learned so much. But that was part of my training. So if you think back at some of the weird things that happened to you, some of the timing, you'll see, I guarantee you that it's part of your training. Why did kids hate me? What was the point of that? Because God was saying to me, you're going to learn compassion because you got a big fat ego. We gave you an Aries sun in the first house with a grand trine and the fire signs. You're going to know what it is to be made fun of and not be liked. And you are not going to react. You're going to learn. Took a while. But why did these icky things happen to you? If you want to play the role of the victim, that's all you're going to get. And it is all over the news. That you will get attention because of your religion, your sexuality, your color, your experience. There are real victims in the world, real ones. There are real ones. But I would doubt, I'm throwing this out there, that most of the experiences that we have are not that. That if you're like me, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. I don't want to have to go through this. I don't deserve this. Well, you do. It's not that you did anything bad and sinful and awful. It's that you need a correction in your behavior and your thinking. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And it's comforting in a way because it's not so stuck on the negativity and feeling sorry for ourselves all the time. This feels like there's a way through it.
It is. And we all do that. I mean, it's just part of human nature. But to find what you said is why is the way through it. I'm practical. First, I'm going to be practical. I drive a 6,500 pound truck. I drive a truck. I'm practical. I want to be able to maneuver through the world. And we joke and say, I dress up like this. I have all this stage makeup on because it's fun. And it's just how I present myself. I feel better. It's theatrical. So how do you present yourself and what do you want to be seen as? We do teach people how to treat us. And when you are not treated kindly by someone, try saying, I tried this. This just came out of my mouth once in a store. Woman said something really nasty about appearance. And I said, you know what? I'm going to let that go. I think you're just having a hard day. And she said something like, I don't remember what she said. You know, you're right. I'm sorry. It took her a minute, and I thought, there by the grace of God go I.
Yes.
But if I can watch what comes out of my mouth and what comes into it, my addiction to white rice, oh my God, it's just sugar. I can eat it with my hands. So I have to modify it. But it's an addiction. You know, so what? We catch ourselves. We're not here to be perfect, you guys. We're just not. And we're not going to have that. We just had Tom's 8-year-old grandson here for spring break. He's hysterical. And this is a learning creature. He just turned 9. Learning creature. And we forget that that's who we are too. But we get more grounded. You get more solid in the physical world. You get to understand, you become where you understand more about how time and space works. And that's what allows us to adult, capital A.
We need that. I know I do.
Remind me of that, you know. I think we're moving into times that are better. And when I say better, it's because when we are this stressed and when we have this much going on, even a war is a communication. We are in what I call World War III light. The whole planet's going to be talking. The whole planet's not going to be at war, but there can be like these little fires that come up here, 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 because we are all nuts. We're just nuts, but we'll work through it. And when in the world have we not had at least a couple weeks worth of food, water, medication? You can live without chocolate for a month? I mean, come on, people. You know, be raiding your neighbor's house at 2 a.m. When have we not lived like that? You know why? If so-called something weird happens, if there's a tornado blows that, you know, Red Cross can't get to you, the stores might be empty in 24 hours. So you owe it to yourself to make yourself your beloved. What do I need to do to make sure I can stay in this physical body and finish what I came here to do? There's a statement.
Beautiful. And it appeals to a calmness and a reasonableness. And it goes back to the peace of mind that we're always seeking.
Oh man, that calmness and peace of mind, I have not had it for probably 2 months, except coming and going, because I'm going through so many changes. I had a weird thing with my health. My blood tests weren't right. We're straightening that out. Sophia left. We had a financial weird thing happen. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like everything's falling apart. But the pieces that are falling apart, you get real, you get right with God, and you see what needs to be fixed, and you do it, and it will be okay. I usually am calm. I live in a state of mind that I think I'm calm. I can be energetic, or I can be an absolute batshit crazy like anybody else. But I haven't had it for a couple months. And it's just the times that we're in. Now, you will also feel the energies of your community and your world. You'll be feeling some of that too. So that's where your prayer bank, your prayer cycle, and your meditation, no matter what religion you are or aren't, you have got to find a way for peace of mind to have something that you believe in that's higher than you, higher than yourself, because that's who we truly are.
That insight is so appreciated, and we always need to be reminded of that. So thank you, Zoli.
Thank you, Linda. I need to be reminded. Maybe I should watch these 24 hours a day to remind myself. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We take care. Until next time.
God bless everybody.